Welcome to Together Unprocessed, where five friends from across the world share real conversations about food, healing, and life. Let's get started. I would love to talk about staying on track because I had a night last night, and as often happens, I'm sort of emotionally eating, shall we say, and not being able to stay on track. But the thing is, it's not even it was a choice I made, right? Like while I was doing it, I'm like, I don't care. And why? And I know exactly why. I have a lot of stress in my life right now. There's way too much going on. There's not really any joy. I mean, I hate to say that. It sounds really rough. I mean, this is beautiful. This is joy right here. Like this is the most joy probably I will get today is being out here, unless I get a chance to exercise. That makes me feel good, and I think of that as joy. But our little connection here is my only social thing right now, and has been for a long time. So I appreciate you being here. But can we talk about this? Because I know we've all struggled with it, and I'll tell you, like last night, I'm like, you know what? I just need to chill, and I have lots of different ways to chill. But I, chose the glass of wine. I ate the sweet dessert. Then I had popcorn, and then I had this, and then I had that, and it just kept going. And during that moment, I just didn't care. And then I even knew that I'd wake up this morning feeling like crap, and I did. And I feel better now than when I first woke up because I do all of our mindset stuff, and did some myofascial things, and I feel better that way. But my gut's a mess, and I have, soreness in my body. And so, what do you guys do? And then do I just let it go? But I see I can't do this too often. And I mean, all these things too that I hear about, if I really want to get a hold of this insulin resistance, you have to do it consistently. What feels like forever, or it's never going to work. And so then you just get disheartened, like, oh, I'm never going to be able to fix this anyway, so screw it. So what do you guys have to say?
Go ahead, Ash.
Well, I agree with you. It is hard. I'm the person who goes all in or nothing. So for the 18 months, I had my mind set to doing it. So I could say no to everything. When the kids had ice cream and we went out and we did it, whatever it was. But I made that decision at Christmas time last year to try a few things, which then I seem to have opened up the door and just flipped the switch. So I totally get what you're saying, because for the last 8 months, I've been through that where I'm trying so hard to be good. I know exactly what these foods do to me, especially cheeses and, things like that. But it was, you get that bad day and it's like, oh, well, stuff it. I'm just going to have it, like, oh, well, whatever it is, where I wasn't like that for the first 18 months. And then in that moment, it's like, oh, well, it's okay. But it is, the next day you're going to wake up and you've got the sore back. Like I've got now, it's just the sore back, or it's the knuckles, the inflammation is real because it comes back so quickly in your body. And I am the type of person who has to be all or nothing. I can't do moderation. Moderation isn't a word for me. It's, like, that's why I haven't drunk coffee in 2.5 years, because for me, coffee is one of those things where I can't just have one mug a day. One mug turns into 6 mugs, or one piece of chocolate. Which I'm not a sweet person at all. I've always been the savory, the cheeses, everything. But again, it's not like one piece of chocolate; it's the whole chocolate. So I have to abstain. So I totally get it. It is, and it's. I suppose, like you said, you've had a stressful week. We've all I've had a stressful week as well. And it's those days where it's like, well, screw it, I just want that comfort milk. Because at the moment, I'm going through a milk phase, where I need to have, and it's becoming now a habit where for the last 3 weeks, before I go to bed, I need to have a hot milk. But I wake up in the morning, like you're saying, and my back is killing me. And I haven't felt that I wasn't feeling any of that in the first 18 months. So it is very real. It is that whole addiction thing, I think, and the milk for me isn't helping, because it's leading then to, I need cream, I need something. It opens up the doors to everything. So once that mindset is broken, it's broken.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening last night. Yeah, because now I will say, at least
I didn't at the store because we were at the store, and I didn't buy the ice cream. I thought about buying the keto ice cream because I knew I was just needing like this kind of comfort, right? And so I didn't do that. So that was good. But it still didn't change in what happened at the end. And I think I love what you say about the all or nothing. That's kind of how I am. I think that's part of the problem. So you have stuff around, or you have this need, and like you said, you go off the rails, and it opens up for everything. And so many other times in my life, because doing detoxing and fasts and different programs, even before I was doing carnivore stuff, it was the same way. I could go weeks and weeks, as long as it was totally, I don't know, 100% committed, I guess. Like you said, you haven't allowed yourself to have coffee because you know what'll happen, right? It's the same kind of thing. So I think awareness is key. Like, just the fact that we know that our body hurts. Like, a lot of people aren't even aware of that. When I'm working with patients and stuff, when I'm trying to show them what their body is feeling like and being in their body. So I've got that part down. But even though I know I'm going to hurt, it's still there. So I guess, what can I do instead? Is that what we focus on? I don't know. Kim, what do you have to say?
Yeah, geez, I've been at this way over 2 years, and when I first started, I did really well, and I'm not too sure of understanding why I did so well. It could have been all the friggin' butter I had on my steak and the eggs and stuff. It was just it was very good, but then I started falling off the rails. And before I go on, I'm gonna mention one thing that's never talked about in the community realm that should be, is we're women. We have hormones, and we have more hormones than any man. And
Yeah.
and that plays a huge role in this. So I mean, I skipped and I went, okay, so today what I'm learning is I need to do the self-talk. And you guys know exactly what that is. It's like, you need the noise in the head is so much that I had to start talking to my head and saying, like, come on, Kim, you know what's going to happen. You're going to be so achy, and it's not good for you. And why when you buy a piece of pie, you have to have the whole pie? And that self-talk helped me for a while. And then all of a sudden it was like, if somebody mentioned to me ice cream, or they mentioned to me pie, or they mentioned, you know what? It was there. It was a trigger. Immediately it was a trigger. And again, if I didn't do the self-talk and other stuff, guess what? I was buying that whole freaking pie. And to last the night would be very unusual, because I'd eat the whole friggin' thing. It was like total gluttony. And then I just realized, as I was watching more and reading more or whatever, and learned that it's a damn addiction. And it's no different than if you were a cocaine user or an alcoholic. And I gave up alcohol, I gave up drugs, I gave up cigarettes, but I cannot give up sugar. And then that's why I wanted to look more into this. And it's an addiction, and it needs to be treated as an addiction. And we don't do that. We don't do that.
I think that, that's a really good point. I totally forgot. A few months ago, I was looking into, I have a couple of friends who quit drinking altogether, and they used a couple of resources, a couple of really good books that helped them. And I was like, that's what I should listen to next, is a book on addiction, even for like focused for alcohol, because this is really worse than alcohol in so many ways, because you can't, it's around everywhere. You can't completely get away from it.
It's worse than cocaine.
Makes it exactly. I mean, there's so much out there about it. And so, for me too, well, and then it was the alcohol. It was like, I really wanted a glass of wine, and I don't drink and never had a drinking problem per se, but there were times in my life where I'd have a glass of wine most nights of the week, just a glass. Got away from that, thank goodness, so that I can tell in one night that if I have one glass of wine, I can feel it in the next morning. And I don't even like the feeling, but why do I do it? I don't know. It's interesting. So it's got to be the whole addiction thing, and learning to stop it and being able to be successful at it. That's got to be my next goal.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if it's that dopamine hit, sort of that when you're in that sort of stressfulness of feeling down, feeling you just need that pick me up, and the quickest way is to get something like that. I didn't, like I said in the beginning, I didn't drink, I didn't do any of these things, and until Christmas when I did let it in, it's now that feel good thing. It's like, oh well, I'll have that. But I'm sticking still to the carnivore stuff, except for, as Kim mentioned, the ice cream. That's for me is my biggest weakness is things. So now I'm trying to switch to the cream, but then it's like in switching to the cream, it's then, are you then having too much of that? Because that's also, for me, I find it incredibly sweet. But it is an addiction, I think. It is that whole, and for me, it's a self-sabotage. I'm feeling in a low mood. So it's like, well, it's a way almost to punish myself. Well, I'm going to fall off anyway, so I might as well just do it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly.
and
Right.
it like
Right. Exactly. I'm like, if go ahead, Kim.
it's well, sorry, Cindy. It's like both Ash and I read David Goggins' book, and I it was one of my favorite books of last year. And one of the things that he said to me that resonated with me and has never left me and will never leave me is that we give ourselves permission to do it. So when we're in a situation, so like you said, Cindy, like now we have this addiction. Now we're females, we have these hormones, and we're emotional eating. What a storm to deal with. Like, how do you shelter yourself from that storm? And that's a situation you're in right now. It's a hell of a storm.
Yeah, and just with so much going on, and but still I can zoom away from it. Like one of my tricks I will do about just for a lot of different things that I'm wrapped up into would be to use this scenario I got from Peter Sage, where imagine a football game or something, some sort of game, and there's the players that are in the game. They're seeing the scene and they're interacting the scene as a player. Then you step out further, you have the people in the stands that are down close and they can really see the player as well, and they're getting a view. People way up high in the stands or the box office there, they're getting a more of a zoomed out view. They're seeing like the whole scene more. And then the camera guy that's up in the helicopter, right? Looking down and taking the picture. And so I find for some things, and I haven't done it for this, but maybe I should do it for this, is if I can zoom out far enough, then I'm not emotionally attached like a player would be, right? Or somebody that's right there close in it. And zooming out gives me a bigger picture view and somehow more ability to not let myself get so entrapped into it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I need to do something like that. But I feel like in the moment, all of these other things that I've done before haven't worked. Like I know I'm going to feel like crap, right? I realize why I'm doing this and all of these things like that hasn't worked. So, oh gosh, I just had a thought. Wouldn't it be nice if every time, like you said, dopamine, like, okay, maybe if I just go get in the cold plunge, but that's not always possible. And I can't always feel like doing that. You know what I mean? But that would give me a dopamine hit for sure.
Yeah, it's, I like what you said, like Peter Sage, like you learn from him is that, that's true because you don't see all the little parts that are playing their part, right? And to have that bird's eye view, it's like when you are a piece of that puzzle, right? Then you don't know other parts that are missing or where they're supposed to go. But when you start zooming out, you're like, there it goes there, and I go there, and I mean that's powerful. And how would you do that? That's the question: is how would you do that? How would you back yourself up so that you could see the whole? Like, how would you do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing I would have paid more attention to is that, so I'm going away next week, and a big part of that going away is at the end of the week. So I've got like 5 days or so. I want to be feeling good when I'm there, which means I can't be eating this stuff. And so the second thing is I'm going to get body work done on myself, and my body behaves differently if I'm eating properly too, in that regard. So I want to get is the most I can out of these treatments and the courses I'm taking. So maybe that would help. I didn't think about that yesterday. I mean, it kind of went in my head, but I not enough, you know. I was still in the moment. I was in the game. I didn't zoom out to, okay, what's going on for the next 2 weeks coming up, you know, and do I really want to do this? And so there's that. So that may have helped.
Well, how do you do it, Ash, with going to work, your children, your husband, everything? You have 3 jobs, you're a busy person. How do you manage all that?
Sometimes I don't know how. It's just sometimes I have to take emotion out of it and just take that step back. And it's a lot of self-talk as well. Obviously, there's lots of self-doubt going, but I do a lot of gratitude work. But it's also when I start feeling like that, I've got to take a step back and I've got to realize I have to be kind to myself, because that's my word for the year as well, is kindness. Last year was support. This year's kindness to self. So I need to be more gentle with myself, and that's what I'm trying to teach my kids as well, is half the time I can even say to my daughter, half the time you speak to yourself, the way you speak to yourself, you would never dream of speaking to another person that way. I said that to my daughter the other day, and that's sometimes when I'm feeling like I'm beating myself up, where I'm going to go sort of spiral out of this control. It's like, stop, take a breath, right, and just start taking the emotion out of it and going, well, let's look at the logical facts of where am I going? Is this me? Is this not? I love myself. I love myself for feeling this way. I do this a lot. I love myself for feeling frustrated. I love myself for feeling angry, for feeling overwhelmed. That's what I did in the car the whole way home last night while I had tears running down my face, because it was just, the week just was so overwhelming. It was just that whole, you're okay, you can do this sort of talk. And that's often what I have to do when I'm faced with, do I have this? It's like, do I really need this now? Is this something that I need, or is it something that's just in the emotion, because the emotions that need it? The emotions are wanting this, and it's just like, take a step back, breathe. You've got this.
Yeah. Sometimes that works, and last night that didn't work for me. But that's just how it is sometimes. I mean, I think it goes back to priorities too. And sometimes I have trouble with that, especially when there's so many things going on, sticking to a priority. And then also the values, like, what is it that I value out of this? Yeah. Different things to add into the self-talk, right? Yeah, I don't know.
I suppose the other thing I've added in as well is doing non-negotiables, because when it feels overwhelming, I've constantly got a list of 150,000 things to do every day.
Right.
And one thing goes off and another 50,000 get added on. I've just started doing non-negotiables, where I have 3 non-negotiables for 3 for the family and 3 for work. For the work side of things that I've got a list of things I would like to get done. But if I wake up and I go, right, before I go to bed tonight, these things have to be done. These 3 things. And then by doing that, it's sort of helping me keep on top of things, because I start going down this roller coaster where I'm feeling overwhelmed, where I feel like I'm just guilty because I'm not, spending time with the kids, or just doing too much, or where I feel like I'm not doing enough, where I know I am, but it's that whole that sort of thing. And it's just like, when I go, well, actually, look what I've done today, it's okay. That tends to then stop whatever it is in the track, where I'm like, oh, I've had a bad day, I'm just going to go have this anyway. Well, hang on, no, you haven't actually had a bad day. You've had a bad moment in the day. You've had a bad moment.
Oh, I like that.
Take
it's a
breath.
bad moment.
Right. What have I actually done today? And we often talk a lot about gratitude, and we're grateful for things. And yes, I am a very grateful person in with things. But one of my coaches said to me, "But have you ever looked at your achievements?" And she said, along with writing 5 things that you're grateful for, write down 5 things that you've achieved today. And they can
Oh,
be
geez.
big or small. So it's, I got out of bed today when I didn't feel like I wanted to, or I went for a walk today when I didn't want to, or it could be a big thing. I bought a house, and it doesn't have to be the things you did today. It's just through life. Just write down those achievements. So on those days where you're feeling like the world's coming to an end, or that it's just all too much, you pull out that book, sit down, and when you in that state of breathing, look at what you've achieved, and then you can go, well, I actually have achieved a lot, because that's the thing where we all do. Well, oh, I had a bad day. I cheated today. Well, the other 7 days you didn't. So it's just a blimp in that radar
Yeah.
where tomorrow you pick it up and you carry on. I think with
Mm-hmm.
Carnivore, I've been able to do that. With everything else I've done previously, it was like I think Cindy was saying, you've tried all these different things, and I have too. And once you hit that hiccup and where you break it, it's just you go back straight to eating the way you used to. The old patterns come back in. I think with Carnivore, that hasn't. I've been able, okay, I've had a bad day. I had whatever it was today, but I can carry on. Tomorrow I wake up and like, let's carry on. It's another day.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Actually, sorry. Go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I just that's really that's good to hear, because you were very, very strict for a very long time, and that I probably really set you well. Like maybe that took care of any insulin resistance that you had, and now you're just doing these little bumps in the road, and that's encouraging, because I feel like sometimes when I'm always listening to videos and podcasts or different things about all of this, is it does get discouraging when you hear like, well, you have to do the 18 months or 2 years of not screwing up at all in order to fix your insulin resistance that you've had for 30 years, and it just gets overwhelming. It's like you just can't think of doing it. And so right now I'm still not in the place where I feel like I could do what you did, Ash. I mean, I'm just being honest with myself and knowing that's really, but it's something to look forward to, maybe, and to look forward to the fact that I could, that it could be easy to stay on track and to just eat to fuel my body, not eat to, fill an emotion. And it reminds me too of, we had in our other group, the guest that we've had is Natalie West. Do you guys remember having her on? I feel like I need to get out her talk again. I think I'm going to go back and look at that and listen to that today. So Natalie West is out of Australia. She's I forget exactly her title. She's not a psychologist, but she does psychotherapy type stuff. And she's a carnivore, and she's in the space of helping people also with alcohol addiction and food addiction and all of these things. And so I follow her on social media, and she always has, I always agree 100% with what she says. But I don't have her tools for this topic and getting out of addiction. But I think that she's somebody I'm going to look into more, because she gets that whole emotional aspect,
And what's her name, Cindy? Sorry.
Natalie West.
Yep.
Just WEST. Yeah. So she's been on a couple of times, and once I was able to catch it. It's just a lot of these things are often when I can't watch, but I often forget that I can pull those up. So, yeah, I think that we should all watch that and then come back with more tips.
We will. We'll put it on
Yeah.
our to-do list.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ash.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know whether I have changed my insulin resistance, because I still feel like I am insulin resistant, but it's just, and I think each person's body, depending on the damage that you've done over the years, some people bounce back really quickly and get rid of that insulin resistance. And and some people, I don't think, and I think it takes some people a little bit longer. And I've done years and years of damage to my body with all the different things that I've done, from Weight Watchers and all these keto and all these different, well, not keto, but Weight Watchers and all these other diets that I've ever done. that I don't think I probably am in. Even sometimes I think I'm not in fat burning mode because, I still, I'm still putting on a bit of weight and when I'm having dairy and all these sort of things. So I think I've still got a bit of it. So it's all just about it. And it's not easy, and that's what my daughter was asking me the other day because she's not on carnivore, but she's doing more keto. But even for her, she's struggling, and it's like, well, how fast is this going to happen, and all this sort of stuff. And I just said to her, it's a choice that you make. Being carnivore for me, I think it's easier. It is an easier choice, but it is still hard. And I said to her, it's hard when I've got all this other food around me. It's not like if I live by myself, I could say I'm only having meat in my house, and I've got the things in my house still for the rest of the family. They still have their things. And it's always been an active choice to say, no, I can't, I'm not having that. And I was so firm on that. But as that waning, it's sort of, it's like, as that choice is there, but it's like, it's easy to say, oh, okay, one won't hurt, but it's an actual choice to say, well, that doesn't have any nutritional value in my body. And that's where I'm slowly getting back into that strictness, but it's been damn hard. It is really hard when I've got it around me. I've got these ice creams in the fridge and magnums and everything because that's what the kids wanted that day or whatever. And it's like, oh, just give me a bite, just give me a bite. And it's like, and I've got to go, no, this is not food. You don't need it, and it is. It's not easy. It's hard. No matter, I think, where you are in the journey, it's always going to be an active choice of, right, yeah, I'm going to have the cheese today. I know it's going to hurt me, but I'm just going to have it. It's a choice. Or it's, no, I don't want it.
Yeah. It's always the choice. Always the choice. And I mean, that was one of the best gifts we were ever given in our entire life is to choose. And, but it's not always as cut and dry. Another thing when you were talking, Ash, I wanted to say is that, so this whole time through this carnivore, I live with myself and my dogs are 100% raw meat. And every time, like, you would talk or Cindy would talk or Olivia would talk or Chris, I miss Chris like crazy. And, you guys would talk. One of the things that I read once, which was so powerful, is being a parent with children and a partner, whoever that may be, who cares who you are? We accept you, whoever you are. And, it's like you guys are serving alcohol in a bar. And to be able to, stop yourself from eating what they're eating, I mean, to me, you guys need to really note that and give yourself a pat on the back, because that is above and beyond. Because even myself, and I'm not the only one, I get the trigger, I want it, I fight it and stuff like that. I don't think I could be 100% carnivore that I am if I had a family. I don't know if I'd have that strength or ability to not eat what they're eating. I don't think I could. And it's so I just wanted to say too, when you were talking, Ashley, this is my journal, Make Time, and it's by Ryan Holiday, and I write in it every day, and I always put in here what I'm most grateful for, but I never put in there what I've accomplished during the day, the task. And I put that in my first one this morning, just you talking about that, and it's going to be what I'm grateful for and what I've accomplished at the end of the day, because I never do that, and I need to, because that's so important, because you're recognizing yourself.
Well, it's just the wins, we don't celebrate them. We celebrate them for a few minutes or a day, but then we forget. And then instead of being grateful and recognizing those wins, we beat ourselves up instead.
Absolutely.
And we tear ourselves down and, I failed. But I don't like that word failure, because for me, failure is just learning. I hope I fail every day, because then I get to learn from that what it is, and I get to change the course of whatever it is. It's that constant fear of failure, of rejection. but you need to be rejected, rejected in order to move forward, in order to find a different path, in order to go down a different rabbit hole, to see what works. And we've always said, what works for me doesn't work for everybody else. What works for me doesn't work for my daughter or my husband or my, they're different.
Yep.
It is, and recognizing those wins is a big thing, and that's where sort of I've been focusing on a lot, but also being kind to myself,
Yep.
because we all
Yep.
are too hard.
We are. And just before we carry on, I just want to put in something here is that we're missing two people, as you can notice, and we didn't want to miss them. However, due to the timing, we have, like Ashley's 14-hour difference from Cindy and I, and Olivia's 5 hours, and Hugo is 7, and Hugo's away with his job, and Olivia has another commitment. So one of the hardest things we have is to bring us all together all at once. So there are going to be times when there's just going to be a few of us talking. And yeah, we absolutely miss them. We wish they were here. And they're going to be sitting there saying, wow, I wish I could have been there and stuff. So it's the three of us today, just talking as we would every other day. So I just wanted to put that in there, is there's a huge time difference. And that's one of our biggest, because that's what we're talking about right now. That's one of the biggest things we struggle with. Our podcast is being able to have everybody on at the same time. And also Cindy, she is very, very busy. She runs a business. She has a family. She is constantly on the go. She's never stopping. So her best time for us, for our podcast, is right now when she's out getting her walk in before she starts her job or whatever it is, which is why you see her walking. And this is just us being us.
Yep. Good point, Kim. So it is between 7:30 and 8 in the morning for Kim and I both, because we're in Eastern time. Ash, what time is it there for you?
9:45 at night.
It's so crazy to me. I love that. I love how this has made the world a little bit smaller, and we can experience what it's, things like this, and always knowing, hey, somebody's doing something different at this time right now. I think that's kind of fun. But anyhow, I like getting my sunlight. Go ahead, Ash.
It's also just showing that we all have these same problems and same worries and concern, no matter where we are around the world. It's sometimes you feel so alone and you think you're the only one going through this, or this, whatever you're going through, but we're all here in the same predicament. If you want to call it, exactly. In the same situation, in the same whatever. Yeah.
Worldwide. Right. I mean, it's like, one of the things that I was so amazing to me is here I am in Canada, and I'm thinking, man, am I the only Canadian that's like carnivore and stuff like that? And then of course I started getting to know things, and I joined this Discord. And what was so amazing to me, and that was part of my pitch when I threw this to all you guys, was that, oh my gosh, like somebody in Australia feels and is going through the same damn thing I am. And then the same thing with UK and Estonia and Poland, and like literally we have people all over the world. And that was a huge paradigm shift for me. Huge. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history.
Yeah. We're all dealing with it. We're all dealing with this human state. Well, I think what I'm going to do today, when I have a couple of things I can actually listen, I have some more ideas of what to pull up to kind of help support me. But even just having this conversation will be easier for me today, to not dive into the same junk I did last night. So thank you guys.
How are you going to do that, Cindy?
I'm just going to remember us talking right now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember the addiction thing. Oh, the other thing is probably too, today is a little bit easier day for me. So I don't have, patients scheduled all day, and then a drive, and then this and this. I'm going to be preparing for my trip, so that'll be in my mind, and I'll have more opportunities to choose something different. I'm definitely going to get my cold plunge going. That always helps. And maybe I should start doing that later in the day as well. Like, my difficult time is at night when I come home and, I'm wrapping up. And so I could be really good all day, I could fast all day, and then I blow it because of the emotions hit me at night. So I have a few more tools.
And,
you know?
here's another thing that's really important too, that not everybody recognizes. Even when we're very happy or we have amazing things happen, we'll emotionally eat that as well. We eat our happiness. Because it's not just because you're sad. It's all of it. The emotional eating encompasses all of it. Like, I remember there was a time when I was working on something and it was very, very important to me. And I was pushing and pushing and working very hard. And you know what? I got it. And I totally went off the rails. 100% went off the rails. And I mean, well, Ash knows, because we talk quite a bit. When I go off the rails, I go off the rails. There's no, I'm just going to have a piece of cheese, or I'm like, hell no, I'm going all the way. And like I said, on our podcast before was that, I get mad at myself and I say, like, remember how you feel. And I start yelling at myself. And that seems to be working. It seems to get me, where I'm going. And I'll also put in here too, when I first started the carnivore diet, I lost a ton of weight. I did very well. Like, my face was shrunk. I was like, even my hair, which is kind of grayish, was actually going back to being brownish. It was amazing. And like, how can that not motivate you to keep going? Right? Here's an addiction right here, is that it didn't. And then all of a sudden I was like, I started craving stuff, and I said, okay, Kim, let's do cheese. Let's add cheese to this and cheese to that. And I went up 12 pounds. And then when I went up 12 pounds, I have been I shouldn't say yet, because I am now, but to lose it. And then I was like, well, what the hell's going on? And then I did Dr. Sean O'Mara. I did his thing, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to walk. I was walking 15,000 steps first thing in the morning, like Cindy. And then my whole day, and I was doing the X3, and I was eating like 800 grams of beef a day, and I think 2 pounds I lost. And I said, okay, something's wrong here. My thyroid. I had a huge thyroid problem. So now I had to start working on that thyroid too. So just because something's happening with you, like, just don't, like, explore it, get into it, try to understand it, try to figure out what's going on. And go from there, because it could very well be a medical issue as well.
Yeah. Well, my issue is definitely emotional. No, go ahead, Ash. And I need to wrap up here soon too. So
I was going to say, for you, for preparing for your trip for the next sort of day, is don't look at it as a 5-day long thing. Look at it, you're leaving in that many days, but look at it on a daily basis. So just get through today. Be kind to yourself today. Be gentle with yourself today. And then when you wake up, and just do it one day at a time. I got through today. And, when you get to the end of the day, I got through today, and, write down all the things, that you did and all that. And if you just take it sort of baby steps, baby bites, small bites to get to that next, the week. Because if you sort of tend to look at it the whole week in advance, then it's going to start getting overwhelming again, and just, you've got so much to do before you leave. Whereas set your tasks for the day, get them done, tick them off, be kind, and then you start again the next day, so that you're getting through each day step by step. And that might be easier to work towards.
That's helpful, because I think what happens with me, I start thinking of all these things that I have to do, and it gets overwhelming, and I start to lose it. Then I'm not successful in getting those tasks done. So I need to prioritize what I should do today, and each day, like you say. I'm sure tonight, and part of this is visualizing being super successful today, getting those things done, and I will feel stronger tonight, and I won't feel like, oh no, and just want to lose it and everything. So that's a really good point. I really need to so I think on the rest of my walk here, Sharita doesn't really want to walk today, as you can see. So when I drop her off and I really focus on my walk, I'm going to visualize being successful at that, and visualize being successful tonight, and not wanting to go off the rails, and not feeling like I'm losing anything either, or missing out. I think that's a big part of it too, is feeling like I'm missing out. But like you said before, Ash, and all of us, when you're really committed and you don't even want that other stuff, like you don't feel like you're missing out. I've been there lots of times, and you feel totally happy. Someone could be eating your favorite dessert in front of you and it doesn't even phase you. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to be able to get, and then okay, occasionally have something and it's fine. But occasionally is like, maybe a holiday or something, and then stay and be able to get back on the rails and not keep falling off. So yeah. All right, priorities for me today.
Yeah, and keep this in mind too. So Dr. Sean Baker, who I like, he even admits that there are times like he eats carnivore because that's his choice, and his choice is just beef, and he just feels best on his beef. He's able to perform. He has broken records, stuff like that. But he will say when his kids have a birthday or whatever, he will have a piece of cake. Mm-hmm. And there are times that he will do it. But he also knows, like, that is, I'm going to do this, but I'm going back to the way I was. And, maybe someday we'll all be there. I don't know. But when we know at this particular moment we can't do that, then we can't do it. Because now we know it's like, I'm going to take a hit of that crack because I think I can handle it. You can never handle it, ever. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to that point where you're so fat adapted and everything else they call it, then maybe you can. Just that one piece of cake. Personally, myself, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm done. Like, I'm just one of those persons. Okay. Give me all the 24 cookies.
Yeah. One last thing, because then I have to get going. But one last thing I'm thinking of, you mentioned hormones, and insulin is a hormone. I watched a video the other day that was really good, how it tied this down. And we have tons of energy on our body, even a small person. Like, we have enough energy stored as fat for us to run a good long while, like even literally run. I think of that guy who did the marathons all the time. I think of him. But here's the problem. If we can't access that energy, then we can't use it. And the key to accessing it is not having insulin running around in our bodies, right? And so too much insulin is going to shut off our ability to use all of this storage that we have here. And that has helped me thinking of it since I watched that the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be able to keep my sugar or my glucose down. I need to keep my insulin down so that I can use all of this storage on my body. So I'm going to use that today too. So.
Yeah, and leptin is a hormone. Ghrelin, what's ghrelin? The one that we want to eat. That's a hormone. Then as females, all the other hormones, like Kelly, man, it's a battle. Mm-hmm. So I think too the bottom line is we need to win the battles, not the war. And if we take it at one step at a time. Yeah,
one day at a time.
Do it. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Cindy, you got to go. I have to say this has been fantastic, and like this is what you're going to get is us just talking and working things out between ourselves, and hopefully it's going to help everybody else too that's listening to us. So, on that note,
all right,
I'm going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye.